You're listening to Belgium's top-rated podcast, and we're trending well in Ghana right now. Welcome to Left of Center podcast, LOCPOD to some.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How's it going, everybody?
Wonderful.
Wow, whose
Hey,
voice
Dodie,
is that?
what's up?
Good. How are you this morning?
It's great
Pow. I just feel like saying pow,
Pow?
when I see Dodie now.
We got Dodie Russell in the studio. We're going to be going into that in a second. But first of all, I'd like to thank Jill Gajewski for the save this morning. The kick and the save.
The kick and the save.
Yeah.
Both.
Lindsay McDermott notifies us. The notorious LMP notifies us this morning.
6:45ish.
6:45. Hey, I work till 3. I'm not going to be in.
I forget. Have a great show.
Have a great show.
It was unbelievable. I'm worried about her,
Dude.
to be honest with you.
We should strip her of her management.
Shares.
Give us those.
All that.
Give
I
us
want
all
those
that.
shares back. I gave her my shares.
It's worth
too.
so much.
I gave her my shares.
You act like it was like a big deal.
I passed around our liability.
Yeah.
Lindsay owes money to the IRS now also. She's like, this sucks.
Tom's like, my tax bill is less than these bums.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what she's trying to do, like just give her shares back.
Yeah, Dodie, I have to pay money to be on this. Isn't that great?
I think it's because we gave you too much.
I think
Oh,
so too.
see?
Steve
Steve Kellogg. This all goes to Steve Kellogg.
Steve
by the
Kellogg's
way.
got a new car. I know
He's too
that.
good.
He's traveling in Napa and all these
France.
places. France. I mean, traveling the world since he started working for us.
I think, that's a good point. Maybe what Steve did was he raised the sponsorship level so high that he knew he would get the commission check, but then we would get charged taxes on that high.
And by the way,
this is all starting to make
We're
sense
getting
now.
screwed.
It's crickets ever since I said that we
I
need to
noticed
get
that.
up. No, I haven't heard nothing.
Nope. I haven't seen the checkbook either, by the way.
Where is Steve?
I think he's
Ghana.
We're trending well there. But yeah, thanks, Jill, for coming in.
What day is
Nice
it?
Jill's got the
sunglasses.
glasses on.
Should I cut to the
Got
Lindsay
the
cam?
shades. Yeah.
There we go.
Jill's got the
See
shades
those
on.
shades?
That
man?
is legit.
See those
cut off
shades?
of that.
Are you
Jill?
hungover or something, Jill?
No,
You look like you
Show
got the
us your
hangover
eyes.
look.
I don't. It's just the glasses, honestly.
But I've never seen you with
It's
It's been a
glasses.
long night for Jill.
I find it today ironic that you have glasses on today. There's something going on, I think.
I mean, I can leave.
No.
No, we don't want you to leave. I'm just saying.
I just like the fact that you said you were sitting at your house blaring the new Adele.
Yeah, I
album.
didn't get your text till like 20 minutes after you sent it to me.
It's
I
great.
It's
I
out?
didn't hear the notification.
It shows incredible
Oh, yeah, it's
devotion.
out.
The new Adele album's out.
Wow,
The new
you know
Adele
what?
album?
She's got a song I think called that too on an old album. Look at you,
Incredible devotion?
something along those lines.
I didn't even know
Sweetest
that.
Why didn't they play?
Devotion?
We're going to get into you on the radio guessing songs in a little bit.
Oh, screw you, man.
No, ooh.
Oh,
I hate you.
We're going to get
Did
into
that,
that.
Oh.
did that not go
We're
well?
going to get
It
into
did not go well.
Oh.
I heard. There's a clip floating around.
Say, that's a teaser for later because I got a whole thing on that. We don't want to keep Dodie, guessing too long. But Dodie
Good morning.
in
So-
the house.
Dodie, with Powering America, what's your position?
I'm
Pow.
Pow. I'm the Pow person.
Yeah.
No, I'm actually the treasurer.
That's awesome.
The way it's made up is there are two on each side. So there's three union people and three contractors.
Nice.
Yeah,
And
and
you
you're
guys,
you're an owner, of course. Of
I own Balsam Electric, and so,
your whole career?
30 years.
Wow, that's
I've
great.
been at-
Congratulations.
yeah.
You've been the
Speaking
CEO for 30 years?
I've been the owner of Balsam Electric.
owner.
Yeah.
That
Speaking
is-
of 30
Yeah.
years, John, you got that photo that we threw up for Joe Hogsett?
Oh my
That Dodie,
gosh. Do I ever?
I was
Where's
telling
Dodie
Dodie
about
the
30
last
years
person,
ago?
the last person that was sitting where Dodie's sitting right now is Joe Hogsett.
Yeah.
Yep.
Joe and her go way back.
Way back.
We got a picture up right
Would-
now of Mayor Hogsett.
I don't know if he'll remember me as much as I remember.
He
him.
remembered. As soon as
Dodie,
saw that
he
picture.
mentioned that he thought it was in 1989. Is that accurate?
Yes, it was.
Wow.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
It was
guess.
when Barron Hill was walking the state of Indiana, and Joe was running for Secretary of State.
And you were.
I was the president of the Lake County Young Democrats.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Look at that. That's a
Yeah.
legacy.
Kevin and I are president and vice president of the Middle-Aged Democrats.
Middle-aged.
Did you know that?
No, but
We're
that
still
was
trying to
It's
form
MAD.
that.
Yeah, it's called a
Yeah.
MAD.
I think
Middle-Aged Democrat.
That's us, mad.
Mad.
We're just
President of
mad.
MAD.
Yeah, I think Jim Weezer and I are president and vice president of
That's
the
awesome.
old Democrats.
Jerry
Old
Mazer.
Democrats.
The old Democrats.
The old Democrats. Wow. All right.
Odd.
The
old Democrat.
Yeah.
Odd. Yeah. All right.
I was just trying to think of somebody that was around back then.
I appreciate you very much helping us out with LOCPOD. I know you're a fan, and
Yes.
we're friends,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I've known you basically my whole career.
Your whole life.
Yeah,
I'm-
right. Yeah, I mean, with your parents. Yeah, with
Yeah.
your parents and my and
And your
family,
dad,
right?
my dad, and your dad.
Right,
So
but you've been wonderful.
Thank you.
To us at Left of Center. You're our premier sponsor for the last 2 seasons, right?
Yeah, and one of the things I appreciate about Dodie is, her being a business owner helps promote women's-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses. I know you're a big proponent of that, Dodie. And being
30 years ago, too. That had to be,
it was always awful. When I first walked into a job site trailer when we were building the Empress at the time, and my hands were literally shaking on the knob of the trailer because I knew that when I walked in, there was going to be naked women pictures all over the place.
That was like common then.
Yeah. And
was there?
And yes, there was.
Crazy.
And they did not want me in that trailer.
I remember
at all.
I remember as a kid, I would go to shops a lot, and you would always see that back in the day.
Yeah.
You'd see, like,
on top of
you were a kid working somewhere. Yeah.
Well, like there would be, you'd go into some offices, and there'd be like pictures like all over the wall of
Right.
naked lady pictures.
Right.
That was when I was a kid. I wasn't more than. I always enjoyed it when I was.
I remember
10.
that. Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I like this office, but
The Playboy was sitting on the the counter.
It was
and all
like
that,
commonplace.
Yeah,
so can
it's
you
true.
imagine, Dodie? 30 years ago, brand new woman-owned business. When women-owned businesses were
I was one of the first companies certified in the state of Indiana.
What made you want to do that? Is it family or
politics?
really?
Yeah, I was actually involved in. I was working for your dad, and I got involved in the referendum for Riverboat Gaming, and then I had met.
That was a big deal.
Yeah.
94.
Yeah,
Right.
And
No,
then,
oh.
before
92.
That, it was
92.
before that
Yeah.
because they had a stoppage for a while. The court stopped at something, so we had to hold off. But I had met Bill McHenry, and we got to be very good friends. And after it was over, when we won the referendum, I ran the headquarters. And he said, well, what do you want to do? And I want to help you.
Start a business.
And he said, so I was with April Wooden, who was married to Dewey Pearman at the time, and she was the attorney for them. And we were in Indianapolis, and I think it was bottle of wine number 2. And I'm thinking, okay, well, we'll sell dice or cards or, something like that. And she says, well, I happen to be representing an electrical contractor that's in receivership. And I know that we can get it for X amount of dollars. And Bill says, okay, I'll give you those. I'll give you the money to get started.
That's awesome.
That's
great.
So
not
like,
give.
what was your background at that time? And
I was working for the city.
okay, but like really, so it was like a new venture for you.
Yes, completely. Just jumped right in.
How many employees did you start with?
Probably 15, but
how many
then
now?
quickly went up because during the project, we probably had 30 some people working for us and so what happens is that it goes up and down. So I probably like 15 regulars, and then for the past years, and then every time there's a big job. So like when we did Moab, the addition to the Horseshoe, I probably had 60 guys, and then it'll go back down to like 15 or 20.
Let me ask you a question, Dodie.
Yeah.
So when you take over, you have 15 employees. I imagine they've been with the company for a long time. You're like in your 20s, right?
Yeah.
So how hard is that when you walk in? You're like, hey, I'm your new boss. I'm the owner.
And they're all men.
And they got naked lady pictures everywhere, and here you are.
I can tell you what I did do is I listened to the voice in my head, which was my dad, telling me that I could do anything. And I said, okay, you can leave these pictures up, but I want naked men pictures up too.
There you go.
They're like, okay, we'll pull them down.
Pull them all down.
Yeah, they came
great.
down.
Wouldn't that be messed up? You come back and there's a bunch of naked men pictures. This one backfired.
Well, Dodie,
You have to stand up to them.
I don't want to forget Powering
Yep.
America, because obviously that's our
Yes.
premier sponsor.
It
And I
is.
know you want to say a couple things about that
I do.
before we let you go.
I do.
And we've got a bunch of stuff to talk about today with Mary
Okay,
Tom,
so Powering America is kind of unusual. It's a venture, a joint venture between I know that you know these acronyms, but I'm going to tell you, and tell the audience that it's NECA, National Electrical Contractors Association. I'm on that board, and then we have the IBW Local 697. And we've decided several years ago to form an organization to get together to do joint marketing. And so it's like the marketing arm of the union and the contractors.
That's awesome.
And most building trades don't get along. The contractors and their employees, the construction workers don't really get along, but the electricians do very well. And I mean, I know you guys knew Brian Riesel very
absolutely.
well.
Right.
And he had started a lot of different organizations within that. And then now Jory Richards. And then on our side, it's
We just ran into Jory.
Yeah, he
sure
said
did.
that.
He's
He
awesome.
said-
Indiana
yeah.
Plan.
Yes.
Great guy.
And he's now the new BA. He took Ryan's
Okay.
place.
Oh, okay.
And then, what was I going to say? Oh, then it's Tom Crisiglia and from Higher
Electric,
Amcor,
yeah.
and then your other sponsor is Tom Donovan from Tri Electronics,
Yeah.
and myself. So we're the three
Awesome.
contractors.
So, if I'm a young man, want to be an apprentice,
Yes.
Whoa.
What do we do?
Young
Wait,
men or women?
Well, I would,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or woman.
Were you
Kevin
not
was a
listening
young
at
man.
all?
I think he was
person.
talking about him.
I
He
said
was
if
a young
I
man.
was a young man.
Right. If you were a young woman, you could do it too, though.
If I was, I guess if I was deciding to be a woman, I
That's
could
right.
do it too. But yes,
Okay.
if I'm a
Just
young
make
If
that
you
clear.
identify
if there
it, we
is
don't
a,
care.
how about
That's
this?
right.
How about
That's
this, Jill? If there is a young man or woman out
There
there,
you go.
There
That's
we
the proper
go.
way
Or
to do it.
non-binary person.
Yeah.
Kevin.
Okay.
Just
What-
a person.
You're a
Get
human.
with it.
This
I'm
person that wants to be an electrician, how do they go about it?
Thank you, Mayor
God,
Tom.
damn. You
I
gotta be
can
shit.
America.
I
Whoa.
can speak to that because I'm also on that board. I'm on the apprenticeship board. And what you do is you go to either IBW Local 697's website or Powering America's website,
Wow.
and you apply right on that
That's
on
awesome.
that site. We just we probably interviewed 100 people in the last young people in the last month. And the thing that's interesting is a lot of them are double E's.
Awesome.
They're
Wow.
going. They're
Electrical
going,
engineers, but they want to come back to the
yes,
trade.
yeah.
That's really neat.
Yeah.
I was
so
an
the
electrician
standard- I
I'm
know.
going to be applying,
Yeah.
things go,
That's a good
We-
job.
They
We-
make more
Pays
than I
well.
do.
They
You
pay
know,
well.
electricians. I
No, they
know.
definitely make more.
I
than
know.
you do, yeah.
I got to get
Trades.
to work here.
You know what I...
Don't tell, but you already said I don't want anybody to know I'm a good electrician.
Especially Marissa. She'll put me to work.
Yeah.
So
You know
anyway,
what?
we should
Dodie,
probably.
yeah,
Okay.
thank you, Dodie,
Uh-huh.
for coming by. I
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much.
We
Dodie
appreciate
brought
your
gifts, I
sponsorship.
see.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Yay! Can we, thank you so much,
Okay,
Dodie.
it'll
It's great
keep
to
you
see
warm. Okay.
All right. Dodie Russell from Powering America.
Thank
Pow.
you to Powering America for being the premier sponsor for LOCPOD Season 4. We appreciate it very much, and it's great to see Dodie again.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dodie.
So we're going to, thanks, Dodie. Well, Season 4 is powered by our premier sponsor, Powering America. With the explosive growth of renewable energy in America today, call Powering America to meet your needs. For renewable energy in your home or office, including electric vehicle chargers and solar power solutions, trust the electrical professionals of... That's right, Powering America. Visit poweringnorthwestindiana.org. That's poweringnorthwestindiana.org.
Grizzlies Concrete was voted #1 in the Times Best of the Region 2020 and 2021. Grizzlies Concrete specializes in all of your concrete projects, and they've been using the original cement finish in the
California style.
since 1972, and also offers stamped and colored concrete.
For the last show, I'll
You're
sing it.
going to bring it all out,
Yeah.
all the way.
For the last show.
Full California style.
Last show of Season 4 is on Tuesday.
All right. That's going to be, so I'm sure Bernie will be listening. For more information or a project quote, call Bernie at Grizzlies Concrete at 219-659-4127.
Midwest Air Duct Cleaning. At Midwest Air Duct Cleaning, your health is our #1 priority. At Midwest Air Duct Cleaning, we are dedicated to providing top-notch quality services at an affordable price. Our technicians at Midwest Air Duct Cleaning have been trained to shelter the members of your household from potential airborne contaminants. If you would like more information from Midwest Air Duct Cleaning on how to protect the lungs of your home, call Marinko and his team at Midwest Air Duct Cleaning at 219-671-8868.
Challenger Learning, Calumet what the?
What?
Whoa.
Okay,
indeed?
Calumet Brewery.
What the hell
Thank
is
you.
going on, Kevin?
Wants to tell you about Michelob Ultra.
People are
Michelob
paying for this,
Ultra.
Kevin.
I know. I apologize
See?
to Calumet
You don't
Brewery.
add Midwest Air Duct Cleaning. You don't do anything like that. It's
I
just
won
reading.
the election 69-31, man, or 61-39.
Oh,
so
that was rigged.
don't. That was a softball. Calumet Brewery wants to
About
tell
time
you
you won an election.
about.
Wow.
Ouch.
Damn.
Too soon?
It's Friday.
I could go right back, but I'm gonna just stop right there
Yeah, it could be the end of this.
because I root for this guy a lot. So,
I
Calumet
root
Brewery.
I root for you too.
Calumet Brewery wants to tell you
You're my
about
other
Michelob
spouse.
Ultra.
Kevin. You're my other spouse.
I was your date the other night. Michelob Ultra is a superior light beer with only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, all while being one of the fastest growing brands in the region. Or try Ultra Pure Gold, or an organic light lager with only 2.5 carbs and 85 calories, brewed for your healthy lifestyle. Enter to win a Michelob Ultra Snowplow through CalBrew.com. Check out Calumet Brewery's Facebook page for details.
These prizes get better every episode.
Yes. The
Snowblower.
The snowblower, right. Challenger Learning Center. The holiday season is here. Challenger Learning Center invites families to celebrate the season with a show full of classic holiday hits, all set to laser lights, all aglow. The holiday laser light shows will take place on Friday, December 17th at 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. Tickets are $12 and must be purchased in advance. Visit clcnwi.com. That's clcnwi.com. Or connect on social media at Challenger NWI on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Thank you to our sponsors, especially our premier sponsor, Powering America.
All right, guys. There's something wrong with me.
I want to get in your head.
There's something wrong
Narrow
with me.
that down.
Maybe I don't want to get in your head.
I have do you guys have the same dream different times? I have
No.
I have dreams where it's the same fact pattern.
Repetitive dreams.
Multiple times.
A lot of times I can't remember my dreams.
I normally can't, but when I have this fact pattern dream, it's the same fact pattern. Always a little bit different in each dream I have. And I'm when I say 20 times in the last couple years, I've had the same type of dream.
What's
All right.
a fact pattern?
And I had it again the other night.
You're going to hear about
You'll hear
it.
about it.
Oh, okay.
It's a very lost.
Get ready.
Okay. So I have probably, let's say within the last 1 year, I've had this dream approximately 10 times ish. And I had it again the other night.
Okay.
And I just got up at 5:06 or something
I
in the
cannot
morning.
wait for chat to do some dream analysis.
Yeah. So there's something going on in my life, and I want you guys to troubleshoot it for me. Can you do that?
In your life?
Okay. So the central theme of my nightmare, I'll call it, is I'm running late for an airplane trip to someplace important.
Okay.
It's and it's a super fancy airplane, and it's always the same theme is this airplane is taking me someplace that's really, really important, and I need to be on it, and it's leaving, and everything I'm doing is messed up. And it's inhibiting me from getting to the airplane, which is taking me to this important place. And so instant, the other day, my dream was I was on a subway system. Okay. And the subway is, I'm every train I get on is messed up. It's going the wrong direction. It's broken down, and I can't catch the next train. And I know, the Kevin Smith in my head is you're going to be late for this trip. For this important airplane trip you have to take, right?
Kevin, he's dreaming about you.
I do dream about
Oh,
that. a
I've
lot.
already got my analysis going, but go ahead. I want to get this finished.
So the other day, literally, every subway I'm getting on is messed up. And then I get on one, and I'm finally I made it. And the subway is literally heading away from the airport. I could literally see the airport, and I'm heading the wrong way, and I can't get off for another 10 minutes before it hits the next station. And I'm doing the math, and I'm just not going to make it. Okay. So now, by the way, the subway is not always consistent. Sometimes it's buses. Sometimes people are driving me. That's the part of the dream that changes. Okay. Now, sometimes I make it to the airplane. Sometimes I don't. The one I had the other day, I did not make it to the airplane. One time I made it to the airplane and it crashed in Napa. And there is a whole bunch of big buildings in Napa
hometown.
with skyscrapers in Napa. Napa doesn't have skyscrapers. We literally crashed coming into this skyscraper Napa. Crazy shit, right?
All right. You want to hear me?
I want to make sure I got, okay.
It's you know what it is? I got this.
Yeah.
So the modes of transportation are the campaign. And you're
It's always
getting to this
politics with
important. Well, maybe. Well, I'm thinking what's important in your life. It's not you've been mayor for 18 years and you do a pretty good job at it.
So the airplane is taking me.
Yeah,
you're
to the important place,
The important place is
election day or the Senate or the House or whatever, and you're worried about getting there. Am I doing the right thing? Am I messing up along the way?
I think Kevin is missing. Honestly, I think he could be a good therapist. That's pretty solid.
Anybody else?
Go ahead. No,
Tom, did you have this dream before the congressional race?
I've had this dream numerous times, John.
I
don't really remember but literally, it's always the same fact pattern. Maybe a little bit different each time, but it's always the same theme. It's
John, that's why when he said 2 years, that's why I thought about that.
Yeah.
The congressional race, now the Senate race. Am I doing the right thing? All right. Well, I mean,
it's weird, right?
Yeah,
it was a nightmare. I would get up and I'm all disheveled when I get up, and I'm just
big decisions.
tick 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 tick. My heart is all and I'm I get up and it takes me a couple minutes to realize I didn't miss anything.
Well, think about how your day. Right, that's
when I wake up because I'm panicky a little bit, oh my god, and then I wake up and I'm okay,
I think this has to do with you being overwhelmed.
No,
that's the lateness of.
I am. Yeah,
and you just got too much stuff on your plate.
I think it's a stress. I think it's I know you've been really busy during the day between the Senate race and being mayor. Your regular, your job that you do every day.
It's impossible,
right?
To make everybody satisfied I have an impossible task.
That's for
every
sure
day.
what it is.
It's there's no way I could keep the Hammond resident 81,000 people happy, and there's no way I could be the perfect U.S. Senate candidate. And by the way, even if I focused 100% on being a great U.S. Senate candidate, I'm still going to leave people upset because that's just an impossible task.
So your dream's I'm falling short. I'm not getting to where I need to be. I'm not getting to the goal I need to be at. So that's it.
I'm going to read a couple from chat.
All right.
Laura says, it seems you have a lot on your mind and are worried you're not going to get it all done in time.
Oh, sure.
Same themes, right?
Amy says, lay off the devil's lettuce.
Oh,
Really?
wow.
Or
It's
lay
the
into
Grateful
it,
Dead.
maybe.
It's the Grateful Dead lettuce.
Lay into the lettuce. Lay off of the
Lay
lettuce.
Lay into it.
The lettuce. I don't eat lettuce. That's so funny.
Wow, fascinating.
That's it, huh?
The
That's all you guys got?
only dream I've had recently is
Boy.
well,
Yeah,
Is this
dude.
safe for...
these are
Yeah,
really
remember
these are
Jan
so,
is listening.
These are so lame. A button on my suit keeps breaking.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
that's one thing. And then I was driving backwards in my car with the lights off through the Menards parking lot. It was closed, and I couldn't get in. That's it.
You were driving backwards. with your lights on.
Fast, and I should have been hitting things, but I wasn't. I was like going in circles. I couldn't hit, and it was closed. That's what I got going on.
That is like a nightmare to you.
Yeah.
One time I had to drive backwards with my lights off.
And a button broke on my suit.
I know, lame. Much lamer.
Button
I
broke.
told you. They're
This
lame.
goddamn button was so annoying.
My mom just repaired the button, and it kept breaking.
That is
Yeah,
a nightmare.
That's all I got going on.
It's
And
a
terrible.
nightmare.
That is
I
a
know.
nightmare for
It's
me.
like when we checked your algorithm and there was a bunch of cats. I was so upset with you that day. So anyway, okay. So
All right.
basically, if I have the dream again, I'll notify you guys. But
Thank
I had
you.
it the other day, and
All
it's
right.
disturbing. So I wanted to bring it to LOCPOD, and I
Appreciate
appreciate
that.
everybody's psychotherapy.
Where have you been this week?
Where have I been? Well, I'm going to start off. This is sort of. I mean, it's not even sort of depressing. It's straight depressing. My job is. Maybe this is part of the reason I'm dreaming. By the way, I attended. It was the same day. By the way, wow. I attended a funeral for a 13-year-old that was killed on Halloween in the city of Hammond. Little boy that was. His crime was trick or treating. Thomas De La Cruz, 13-year-old's funeral. That was the same day I had the dream. Wow. Anyway, but basically, I went with the police chief and the assistant chief of police. He's a resident of East Chicago. He's trick or treating in the city of Hammond. The worst case scenario of what happened and why he, was killed, why he was murdered was there was words exchanged between a group of 13-year-olds and
Think about that.
somebody from the LGBT community. And these words went back and forth, and then somebody came out and shot at the group
Think
of
about
13
that. That's like that's now the new resolution to anything.
I
Let's
mean-
bring out our automatic weapons and assault rifles
Right.
and shoot everyone.
So, I feel responsible, obviously, because it happened to my city. It's a horrible tragedy. It's a perfect example of what's wrong with America right now. And it's a perfect example of the differences between my job as mayor and Senator Todd Young's job as senator, as he doesn't have to see the faces of the little boys that get killed. He doesn't have to go to the funerals and see the families that are devastated by the ridiculous gun laws that we have in our country.
I was going to say, or when they do come to the Capitol, they just don't vote for any gun control, like when Sandy Hook families came to the Capitol.
Right.
They didn't vote for gun control.
Or how about in Indiana when Noah Inman was killed by a bullet falling from the sky? And, and by the way, I learned their names because they're little kids that didn't make it. And we went with the family of Noah Inman down to the State House to ask the Indiana legislature to change the gun laws that say you cannot fire a weapon into the air in city limits. I mean, I think most gun owners...
What a ridiculous idea.
Right. I think most gun owners could agree that's dangerous because, believe it or not, rocket scientists, these bullets come down. They don't go into orbit. They go back down. So if you fire them up in the air and you're in an urban area, the bullets come down and they kill people. When they go through, we have bullets that land through roofs of homes, coming down. We have bullets that land in places like the Sportsplex and the Civic Center, areas with big roofs. So these bullets do come down, and 99% of the time, thankfully, they don't kill somebody. But this time, it killed a kid in Hammond, and we tried to get the gun law changed in Indiana, and we didn't even get a hearing.
Twice. Representative Lawson did.
That's right.
And then this year, Representative Andrade did. And guess what? Kokomo Republican Representative Van Natter took us to task on that.
And we don't even get hearings because people like Van Natter don't want to appear soft on guns.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pro NRA. I can't even talk about stuff like that.
They're so caught up in what will the NRA do to me if I vote for one thing that could be seen as anything to do with guns.
And so my job is, unfortunately, I have to see the families that are devastated by these, lax policies that we have in America. And, I get to go to the funerals, and people like Todd Young and Representative Van Adder get to act ignorant of it and sit in their ivory towers and just stay idealistic to the NRA. I'm the one that has to see the bloodshed.
Mayor Tom, this is one of the things that I think, I know I'm biased, but I think that makes you attractive as a candidate because you've come on and you've said, look, I support the Second Amendment. I carry a gun for personal protection.
I'm carrying right now.
But you can still have a reasonable discussion about what needs to do to fix things when there are problems.
Right. I'm carrying it now. I believe
that's
it.
Such a problem with America.
You know why I carry it? I carry it for my personal protection.
Yeah.
Okay? And I don't believe that should be inhibited. However, I don't take my gun out in Munster and start firing bullets into the air. Right? That's legal, I guess. Right?
Sure.
It's legal in Indiana. It should not be. Can't we just say that should not be legal? We can't even have discussion about it because we want to be so beholden to the NRA. We can't even talk about reasonable things like that. Or like we can't talk about like red flag laws where people are literally insane. They got issues and they also have a bunch of weapons. Right. That's a great combination.
Loopholes at gun shows, assault weapons. These are all things that need to be
debated. And I'll talk
debated.
about these things. And I could still be loyal to the people that carry for personal protection like myself.
And hunters.
And the hunters and the people that have shotguns. I could still be loyal to them and say, I don't think you should fire a handgun into the air though. You know, and I think most people, reasonable gun owners would agree.
Yeah, I mean, and it kind of puts people like the Todd Youngs of the world and the Mike Brauns and the Van Adders of the world on the spot. Like, tell me why. Tell me why that's such a great idea to keep that law.
He doesn't want to talk about it.
Right.
It's. And by the way, Todd Young would have never gone to the funeral of a little kid that was killed in the state of Indiana over lax gun policy. He should. It would be good for him to see the devastation that's going on right now with guns all across the Chicagoland area and all across America. So. You know, Mayor Tom travels. It's not always fun.
No.
That was not fun. It was a tragedy.
That's a little window into the mayor's world sometimes.
I also visited Local 41 Union Hall. That's the laborers. Thank you to Kevin Roach for inviting me out. It was nice. Got to talk to, 100 or so members about.
It's a big union. It's a great union.
About the infrastructure bill and about ARP and how much work that they're currently experiencing. And they're going to have work for 5-10 more years because of everything that's going on with our infrastructure bill and what's going on with all the ARP money that went to the cities and the schools across Indiana.
I can't stress enough. If you're a young person and you feel like, hey, I'm not really, I don't really want to feel like going. I don't feel like going to college. That's not my thing. I really would stress to you, take up a trade. The trades are going to be busy for the next decade.
We just heard Doty talking about the electricians and the laborers they're at full employment right now.
Yep.
So, and then I appeared on the stupid Sherman and Tinkle show. I didn't mean to say stupid.
This is going to be good, John.
Oh, really? I thought it sucked.
So, okay, background on this. Mayor Tom is a very, very good.
Song
he's
pop.
very, very good at music, and he's very, very good at like recognizing songs.
Not the other day.
Right out this thing, right? So they have this show. They have this thing called, what is it called? Mayor
Song Challenge.
Mayor Song Challenge, where they play a little bit of a song, which Mayor Tom should be awesome at, and then he guesses it. How did it go?
It went horrible. First off, like on this,
we gotta get this tape.
We're on podcasts, right? And we could do whatever we want on this podcast. We could go an hour if things are going well. We could cut it short, right?
Sure.
The thing that sucks about terrestrial radio, honestly, is they're bound to a schedule. You're like chained to a schedule. So like this segment that they're doing, first off, like if it was a podcast and we were doing that segment, I would have it fun time with it. Like you're a mayor. Let's talk about mayor stuff. Let's joke around with the mayor. Let's pick on the mayor. Like try to make the mayor look like a dork. Like you could have a lot of fun with this, right? Yeah. So first off, because these guys are chained to their schedule, they literally we got like 2 minutes to do this bit. I literally was told coming in, you're going to be on there. I don't even want you to talk. Like just go on there and answer the damn questions, right? I'm like, really? Like you got? So I was like,
wow,
like
constrained.
Yeah, just like you could tell. Like when they go in, they're like, dude. We have just barely enough time to play 7 songs in 30 seconds.
That is kind of
and
BS.
You could quickly say something. So I'm like, okay. So literally, like once they go, hey, Mayor, and they mispronounce my name, Mayor, like, Mott, like, and I'm just like, okay, a lot of research was done for this, right? So I'm in there, and then before you know it, they're like, any way you want it, that's the way. And I was like, caught off guard.
That song?
I do.
You did not miss that one.
But I missed it, but I went past, and then as soon as I passed, I go, oh, Journey, any way you want it. And they go, sorry, Mayor, you already passed on it. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
So the next one was...
So he's just getting pissed off.
No, but like I wasted like 5 seconds out of 30 on that song, and it's like literally I said it right after I passed. I go, pass. I go, oh, hold it. Journey, any way you want it. And they're like, sorry, Mayor, you passed already.
Oh, jeez. All right.
So I'm like, okay, we'll come back to it at the end. Dude, we have 30 seconds to do 7 songs, right? So the next song is... Studio, and I got that one pretty quick, right?
Good.
And then the next song is starts off Freebird, which is a pretty recognizable song, but they don't go into the like part of like well, I can't change what you find on Freebird. They don't do that part, right? They do the very beginning where it's
So I
like,
was just humming.
blah, blah,
Could be any song on earth.
You're like, wait a minute.
and I'm like listening to the keyboard. It's not even really an important part of the song. It's just the very beginning, right? And then I said Knights of White Satin because it has a slow part, right?
Yeah.
And then I messed it up and I was like, oh, he goes, nope, not Knights of White Satin. And then I listened for like 5 more seconds. I'm like, Freebird. He goes, okay, and they stop it. He goes, you have like 1 second left, and I have 4 songs.
Yeah.
So the 1 second come on, and I was done. And they're like, thank you, Mayor McDermott. Click.
Did they get your name right on the back? On the back
I don't even know.
as they showed you the door?
Dude. So I got like, I identified 3, but they only counted me for 2.
That
and
sucks.
like, yeah, it sucked.
Well,
We should do that in here.
If we did, it would be a good bit. They had an opportunity for a good bit, and they freaking were bound to their schedule so much that it wasn't even fun.
no fun.
So
It was stupid.
Someone sent me the clip, and I
that's
wanted
great.
to play it, but
We get kicked off Facebook.
I think we would probably get muted or something by Facebook.
There's
So
the
I don't think we
God darn it.
But I would love to
That
do something like
sucks.
that.
Damn
in
you,
here.
Facebook.
I just told you what happened. That's just literally what happened, and
Alright.
it was dumb.
What else
Sherman
did you do?
And Sherman and Tingle
these are
didn't even like.
exciting travels.
It wasn't fun at all. Like Sherman and Tingle didn't get to have fun with it,
Right. They have 30 seconds.
dude. Like
Have a
take
little fun.
Freaking
Make
pill.
fun
you
of the
have
mayor.
a bunch of mayors coming on, and like you could have fun and make fun of them and make it a bit. But no,
Make it a
they're
5-minute
bound to
bit.
their schedule, which is what I hate about. In this case, it was FM terrestrial radio. I hate it because it's all about a schedule, and there's no like flexibility at all.
I still love XRT, though. I still listen to XRT.
They're still bound to a schedule.
Yeah, a little bit.
And then Democrat of the Year award dinner. I was the keynote speaker.
Oh,
it was
That
nice.
was exciting.
Back home again in Cherryville this time. Got to the Cherryville Democrats at the Democratic Award.
They did a great
Democrat
job.
of the Year award dinner. It was given to the Lake County Auditor, John Patalis, and the Lake County Treasurer, Peggy Katona. So
Both longtime friends of yours.
John is
Yeah.
in chat right now.
John is? Hi,
Yeah.
John. How's it going?
was earlier,
Congratulations,
at least.
John.
Yeah, John and Peggy both are great elected officials in countywide. They're both running for re-election this year, by the way. John is running for Lake County Treasurer, and Peggy is running for Lake County Auditor. They're great Democrats with decades of experience, literally in the trenches, doing everything that
was
we
part
expect.
of your speech.
It was.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, people try to. They're gonna run people. When I say the people in Lake County are gonna run against John and Peggy, I'm sure. And when they do, I can't support them. And the reason I can't support them is because if we turn our back on John and Peggy, who spent decades in the party doing what we need people to do in the party, if we turn our back and go with somebody new that's never done anything, it's not very fair, in my opinion, to John and Peggy, who are 2 great elected officials.
They do a great job.
Democrats of the Year. So congratulations to both of them.
We got a clip, though, of your speech. I thought it was real good. Credit to the cameraman. On
Yeah,
getting
man.
it now, and credit to our producer for getting this clip up. This was it's Tom Schmidt in the background. If you can see this, but you'll
Yeah.
be able to hear Tom.
It looks like I'm speaking to nobody.
It does, but that was just the way the room was set up. You'll hear why in a minute. It's
All right,
good,
we got
good
like,
finish.
30
Good
seconds.
crescendo.
Yeah, this is
to
the end, right?
Yeah, this is the end of the speech. About
And beating Todd Young's not the easiest, and I have this saying, I've said it a lot. You only change Washington, D.C. one person at a time. If you keep sending the same people back and expecting different results, it's not going to happen. And the best way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. I'm going to beat this guy. I'm going to make him work. I guarantee you one thing. Todd Young is going to hate me by next November. I'm going to grate on him like you've never seen before. I promise you, Lake County is going to make it fun, and to beat Todd Young and be our senator. Thank you all very much. Congratulations to John and Peggy on being Democrats of the Year. Thank you, Sherman Democrats, for running. I appreciate it.
Wow, that was
raucous, man.
rapturous applause.
There was a lot of people there.
Yeah,
It was a good hit.
really nice crowd.
Yeah.
Obviously, local crowd. You were real comfortable there, and
Like I said
good
earlier,
speech.
I got to give a speech and drive 10 minutes, and I was home,
You said that during your speech,
which is
When does
like
that happen?
unusual. Like Kevin and I are going to be tomorrow where I give a
Moving
speech
around.
and drive 5 hours home.
Yes,
you know, that's
that'll be much different.
That's usually how it is.
That'll be much
Like
different. but
tomorrow,
we're gonna be moving.
we're going to be
So-
moving across the state. But hey, we got making news here on LOCPOD. We are part
Kind
of a proposed lawsuit that's coming at us, filed by Speros Batistatos of the South Shore Convention and Visitors Bureau, formerly of. He was shit canned. So
Well, I actually look at the headline of today's Northwest Indiana Times. Firm sought for SSCVA CEO search. That's because the board terminated or didn't renew, I should say, Speros' contract.
So we got a tort claim notice yesterday in the mail that says that a bunch of people, myself and Kevin Smith included, are going to get sued.
I think it doesn't. I don't know if it says I'm going to. It says
I
you
think
are.
it does. I'm going to call Speros.
Don't throw me.
I'm going to call Speros and ask him to include you. It would
throw me
only be
under
fair.
that.
If I'm
Yeah.
getting sued, Kevin Smith should get sued
I don't
also.
know about that.
So anyway, we're going to talk about this lawsuit, this proposed lawsuit, which is probably against the advice of counsel, but I have no counsel yet because I'm not sued. So let's talk.
I think it's
your
interesting.
counsel's being sued?
My counsel is going to get sued.
So just remember, like people ask, like, what real quick, what's a tort claim notice? Whenever you sue the government, in this case, they want to sue the city council and the mayor, and the South Shore Convention Visitors Bureau entire board, apparently, for a conspiracy.
A lot of people.
And also some civil rights laws, which is interesting, I guess. But it goes through some allegations, and I thought I'd maybe...
We're not going to do this right now. We're going to do it right after the ads, right?
We're going to do it after the ads.
So this is a good time for people to share the stream.
Yeah,
Right,
if
we're
you want to
gonna
hear
talk
it,
about
by the way,
Speros.
it's not in your local paper because we got
just
this.
happened.
We
We
got
got
this
it
late
yesterday afternoon.
yesterday, so the perfect timing. It was almost like they wanted us to talk about it on LOCPOD, and we are going to give them what they want.
They even mentioned LOCPOD, so we know they're listening.
I need to find the breaking news sound while you guys are doing
Get
it.
on that.
please.
Get on that.
I'm
When we
working
come
on
back,
it.
I want you to play that.
Okay.
LOCPOD in the news. LOCPOD making news this time. So if you want to hear about Speros Batistatos' alleged lawsuit that's going to be filed, stay tuned, everybody. In the meantime, we're going to do some ads. That's how they do it in the biz, John.
It's so great.
Yeah.
In the biz. I forgot. You're
Tor-
part of the biz.
Tortillas Nuevo Leon. Tortillas Nuevo Leon is the gold standard of Mexican cuisine throughout the Midwest. Look for Tortilla Nuevo Leon's popular red, white, and label at your local grocery store. Yeehaw! And enjoy quality Mexican products made with local expertise.
Tortillas Nuevo León,
why we're so
hechas
high in
con
Ghana.
amor, para ti y tu familia de todo corazón. Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia, de todo corazón.
Misprint specializes in delivering the highest quality signs and printing on time and within budget. Misprint's experience in technology allows them to offer custom commercial on-demand printing and sign solutions you can count on. Rick Waltzenberger and his team have served Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana for over 30 years. Misprint has 2 convenient locations in Munster and in Hammond.
Byway Brewing. Byway Brewing is a family-friendly microbrewery with a spacious taproom and an outside patio. Brewing equipment offers a unique backdrop for your private event, like weddings, reunions, and corporate parties. We are conveniently located just off of 8094 at the Kennedy Avenue South exit. Come on by and enjoy Byway's award-winning beers and unbeatable menu.
Tri Electronics wants to be your complete end-to-end communications provider. Tri Electronics has been a leader in this industry for more than 55 years. They're dedicated to assisting their clients with their systems integration needs. They have the expertise and experience to provide superior results for a wide variety of projects. For more information, call Tri Electronics today at 800-722-6793. Thank you to our sponsors, including our premier sponsor, Powering America.
Thank you to Powering America and everybody else for sponsoring LOCPOD. We appreciate you.
Welcome to Left of Center. This is breaking news. A lawsuit threatened against Tom McDermott by his arch rival and mortal enemy, Speros Batistatos.
He's my arch rival and mortal enemy.
That just made it exciting.
It did make it exciting, but we're elevating the hell out of the guy.
Well, I mean, I just...
You're
It's
Lex
called,
Luthor to your
it's called to
Superman.
get people to listen.
Yeah.
That was like
We
our...
should have done that a while ago, though.
That was our news blast. What was I supposed to say? Against a gentleman from St. John. By a gentleman from St. John.
True.
He's from
That'd have
Cedar
been...
Would use
Lake.
that
All
word.
right, a gentleman from Cedar Lake.
No, you can't use that.
Right, you have to say something exciting.
Right.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
anyway.
So anyway, yesterday I'm going about my business.
Anywho,
Here we are.
Performing the people's business yesterday.
You were.
Doing what I do, just making people happy and like fixing things, That's what I do on a daily basis.
It's a busy day.
And I get a phone call from my my boss, my assistant Eva, my work wife. She says, "Mayor, you're getting sued." And I was like, "Okay." Sent us to the law department. It's like a Tuesday, right? That happens. Mayors get sued.
It
I've
happens.
learned this in the biz. I've learned that over the course of the last 18 years, that's one of the things that, if somebody falls on a sidewalk and fractures their orbital, who do they sue? They sue the city of Hammond and the mayor, right? So a lot of lawsuits are filed against the mayor, and not necessarily because of anything I've done. In this case, it was filed by Speros Batistatos, so it was of interest to me.
Yes. So it's a tort claim notice. It's not a lawsuit yet. It's just a notice that has to be given to governmental entities in the state of Indiana if you have intention to sue.
If you don't give us this notice, you cannot sue.
Correct. You would be barred from suing for certain types of lawsuits. But yes, that's correct. All right. So here we go. So he says...
First off, isn't it shocking? Like, the people they noticed on this is the entire Hammond City Council.
Which, by the way, with the tort claim, that's not unusual.
Right.
Okay, they name the city council and they name you. This is just who they're notifying, right? For the city Hammond.
Right.
But they do name a bunch of people in it who is very interesting. In fact, they say there's a together in conspiracy, and I'll get to the allegations.
So I'm in conspiracy with these
the
people,
following.
allegedly.
Me,
with
as
you.
the attorney
you and I,
for the city of Hammond.
You and I, we talk about a lot of things. So
yeah, all right, the city of Hammond is part of the conspiracy.
Well, I represent the city of Hammond.
The SSCVA is part of the conspiracy.
Hold it. I'm in the people that I was suing was the SSCVA, and we were involved in litigation for a couple of years, and I was allegedly
in conspiracy with them.
Okay.
Mr. Andy Quinnell, who's the chairman of the
Andy Quinnell
SSCVA.
is I think he's not the Republican
treasurer
chairman.
of the Republican Party.
He's one of the top Republicans in Northwest Indiana. Andy's a great guy, by the way, but he was also the president of the board during my litigation. So I was conspiring with Andy Quinnell.
That's what the allegation is.
And we were suing each other at the time.
Mr. Tom Dabberton.
Dabberton is Tom and I have known each other for 20 years. He was my appointee to the board, and him and I talked about board business. Yeah.
Mr. Matt Schufert.
I'm not aware of who Matt Schufert is.
I'm not either, but
you were in conspiracy.
I'm
He'll be
sure
on the
he's a
pod
good
next
guy.
week.
Really? Honest to God, I'm sure he's a great guy, and I'm sure he's a community leader, and I'm embarrassed that I don't know him, but I don't think I do know him.
Mr. Brent Brashear.
I think I know him. I think he's the owner of Doc Smokehouse, right?
Well, that's the doctor, I think. I don't know. Maybe he's one of the owners.
I
Mr.
think
Brent Brashear.
I think he's the owner of Doc Smokehouse, if I'm correct. And if I could be incorrect, by the way.
I thought it was somebody
I think
else,
it's safe to say I don't know Mr. Bashir. I mean, I'm sure I've met these people. I don't think we like text or talk or conspire together. I can tell you that.
And Mr. Matthew Maloney.
And I know Matt through WJOB. I've met him a couple times in my life.
Big realtor. You know, he's a successful realtor in town.
I don't think him and I have ever texted.
Probably not.
I don't think we've ever talked
seen
on the
him
phone.
at the wheel. You see him around.
I see him like running. If I see him, I
would.
would say, "Hey, what's going on?" He'd say, "Hey, Mayor, how's it going?"
Yep.
Like that's
those are your co-conspirators.
Those are my co-conspirators.
Here's what you've done allegedly.
Okay, what have I done?
All right, number one, the mayor of the city of Hammond, Mr. Thomas M. McDermott Jr.
Yeah, that's true. I am the mayor of the city of Hammond. My name is Thomas M. McDermott Jr.
Conspired with and made a backdoor deal with the board.
What?
Those are the best deals. The
backdoor, the old backdoor deal.
Old backdoor, under the table backdoor.
I conspired with the board and made a backdoor deal.
That you
allegedly.
You stated that you would dismiss a pending lawsuit against the SSCVA if PPP funds were given out to you and other municipalities.
Can we stop here?
Sure. Yeah.
First off, that's a federal crime.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's saying I committed a federal crime. He's saying that I have legal business that for federal funds I would drop, which is absolutely ludicrous. Okay, the PPP funds that came to the South Shore Convention and Visitors Bureau, I think just about every municipality got $20,000 of those funds. I'm pretty sure that's how
they set up a grant program.
Right, and we received just like Gary, just like Crown Point, just like all the municipalities received X amount of dollars.
And interestingly enough, that program was like either happening during all this when he was getting fired, when he wasn't getting renewed,
been fired by
or
the time that happened.
It was right after. So
like this is fiction, total fiction. I didn't conspire with the board. I didn't conspire with the board to drop a lawsuit to get PPP money. There is an article out there that happened after Speros got fired that I got called from local reporters, and they said, now that he's been fired, would you think about dropping the lawsuit? And I said, well, I would have to reevaluate the situation if that happened. And sort of like said, one of the big reasons we had litigation is because of the gentleman that was running the organization. If he wasn't running it any longer, I'm not sure that we'd feel the same way about this litigation.
Well, at that point, if I remember right, there were two parts of litigation. One was the fact that Speros and the SSCVA did not properly appoint the Hammond City Council representative.
He made up the law.
Yeah,
right?
Right.
And was found to have violated Indiana code, right, Kevin?
Well, there was an agreement between the parties that was signed.
But he violated Indiana code on a number of occasions, and we corrected it with that agreement, like a consent decree, right?
There was an agreement filed, a stipulation that said, hey, we're not going to do it this way any longer.
Because it's illegal, right?
If we don't follow the law,
why are you dancing?
No, I'm not dancing. I'm just trying to remember what the stipulation said.
So, like, we said Speros violated the law. We had a number of occasions where he violated the law, and then they realized very quickly that we were right on that issue and settled and said, okay, we'll never do it again. And we said, okay, if you never do it again, we could settle this issue.
And we filed something that said that.
And it's a consent decree, meaning they will never violate the law the way they did.
And if they do, any community, not just Hammond, if any community gets, if the law is violated, any community can come into the court and say, they're doing this wrong under this agreement. We have to do it the right way.
Which is why we filed the lawsuit.
That's right.
Okay. So the lawsuit is filed because Speros broke the law. And we filed a lawsuit, and we quickly settled on that issue where Speros agreed not to break the law anymore.
Right, and the last thing that was left was a constitutional issue about the statute. And that kind of
dragged on.
It
was that issue is a special legislation issue, which we've been involved in before, but that one's a couple year issue.
And that was what the Attorney General was representing the state on, or is representing the state on that issue. I don't even think Speros lawyers were really involved after that.
So, Kev, we're getting sort of into the weeds.
Yep.
So that allegation was I agreed to drop my lawsuit if I got PPP funds. That's total fiction. Total bull.
The next part, this is, I think the best part's coming in this tort claim.
Right.
But
So
wait,
here we go.
there's more.
There is more. Okay, I want to hear it. I'll do like a deposition. Okay,
all right.
like you depose me. Okay.
Okay.
All right,
Well,
right.
I would do better.
What's that, John?
I would do better than this, but okay, here we go.
When Jill and I chuckled, it was Destiny Scott Wells. Hi, Destiny. She's in the chat.
Hey,
Destiny,
Destiny.
Says Kevin is choosing his words carefully for future litigation.
There will be future litigation, Destiny. So Kevin is choosing his words carefully.
All right, here we go. This is fun, though.
All right.
Like
so
this pod will be shown in court.
Yeah. So I hope you guys are dressed well. I'm glad Jill's got her glasses on because we will see
Can't
this
recognize me.
Mr.
Witness protection.
Mr. McDermott made numerous defamatory statements and erupted? In tirades against Mr. Batistatos on Mr. McDermott's podcast with Kevin Smith titled Left of Center Podcast. LOCPOD.
We're
in the news.
In the news.
What?
Making news this time.
I'm glad we're not in this tort.
Here we go.
court,
You
John.
ready for what
So
you
hold
did?
it. I don't agree that I tiraded. I didn't.
What is it?
Tiraded. It's past tense.
Tiraded?
Tiraded.
Charaded?
I did not tiraded.
I did not have a tirade.
Right. I
All
did
right.
not.
Here's what the tirades included. Ready?
Hold it. Let me ask you a question before we get into this.
These are all allegations.
I know
by the
these
way.
allegations. I want to. Speros, when he was in charge of the South Shore Convention and Visitors Bureau, spends taxpayer money, right?
Yeah, I mean it's money
all
that
agree on
goes
that?
to
What he does.
I forget. Well, how does that statute work? How do
John,
they get their money?
Millions of dollars from the hotel motel
That's
taxes paid for by all the hotel stays in Northwest Indiana. Guess who's the largest community of hotel motel funds in Northwest Indiana? Hammond. We have the most hotels, believe it or not. We generate the most hotel motel tax that goes into this fund, and then Speros takes this money, taxpayer money, because that money could have gone to cities and towns across the region, right? Then he takes all this tax money, which I looked during his tenure was over $50 million of taxpayer money, and he distributes that money based on how he feels.
He and his board, right?
He and his
He's got a
board, yeah. But he's the executive director,
Sure.
right? So Speros is spending taxpayer money at his whim along with his board, and that makes him, in my opinion, a public figure, just like a mayor. And I can't sue people for defamation for criticizing how I spend taxpayer money because I'm a public figure. Speros, I hate to break it to you there, big guy. You're not just like a private citizen when you're spending $50 million of taxpayer money. You're a public figure. And I'm allowed to criticize public figures that waste money like he did as CEO of the Convention and Visitors
Well,
Bureau.
there's also a defense. Let's just say that he could, right? There's a defense to defamation and libel called the truth.
Yeah, true story, by the way. Okay, so I have the truth on my side, and I have the fact that Speros is a public figure, and I'm allowed to criticize public figures.
As long as there's not actual malice, right? You have to prove actual malice if you're a public figure, and that's very difficult. It's a high standard, and you'd have to prove. I mean, I don't know.
So
it's almost it's impossible.
So he makes a lot of allegations.
He
But
does.
keep in
These are
mind,
great.
He's spending $50 million of taxpayer money. $50 million during his tenure. And what he's alleging is I can't criticize him in any way, shape, or form, even though he's spending $50 million of money Lake County taxpayers could have had access to.
Here we go. Ready for the allegations against you?
Are
All right.
these
Jesus, we didn't
quotes
get to these
Tom
yet?
made on the pod
We'll find out. We'll find
yeah,
out.
that are in
We'll
the
find
tort?
out.
You got it, John.
Okay, so you're deposing me?
Here we go.
All right. I'm in.
Here we are.
Okay.
Mr. McDermott has
Yes, sir.
complained about Mr. Batistatos' salary compared to his own.
True. Man, this is a bad
That was
start.
easy.
That was
This is
a
an
bad
easy
start.
deponent.
I did. He made, honestly,
Yes.
Speros made $350,000 a year as CEO of this organization.
That's including
which,
benefits and every salary.
right,
and
which is absolutely ridiculously insane. And I've said that on dozens of occasions. And I pointed it out, and I thought it was ridiculous because he basically packed a board full of people that would approve his salary, and I criticized him repeatedly. True story.
Yeah. Okay.
This may be the first live test dep ever.
Yeah.
Because who would do this live?
This is not a deposition. I'd be
No, a test, like a
test.
prep for
Prep.
dep.
Okay. All right.
We're
Prep
doing it
for dep.
live on air.
All right.
A dep prep.
Dep prep. Mayor Tom Dep prep.
Wait till the lawyers that
Okay.
get hired.
That's our.
They're
That's
gonna
that.
be real happy
Is
with me
that the?
about
Is that the title of the show, John?
Yeah.
Mayor
Dep
Tom's
prep.
Dep Prep.
All right, live on LOCPOD.
All right,
I'm
here
getting
we go.
prepared for the Speros deposition.
Next, disparage Mr. Batistatos' performance in his job duties. I think you just did that.
True. True. Damn, man, this is bad. Starting off bad. I did disparage him. I thought he was wasteful. I thought he would. Kevin, we pulled his credit card records. He would spend $25,000 in 1 month. He had one time a $6,000 bill at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. This is taxpayer money he's spending. I absolutely criticized the way he did his business.
Falsely alleged that Mr. Batistatos makes up the law to benefit himself.
That was not falsely alleged. It was absolutely alleged by me. Okay, and he did make up the law, which is why we filed our lawsuit. And his lawyers admitted he broke the law when they had entered into the consent decree with us.
There you go.
Man,
Look at
this
these
is going-
defenses. All right.
Okay.
You're giving away all your defenses. All right, let's see. Falsely accused Mr. Batistatos of spending taxpayer money as he sees fit.
It was not falsely. I did accuse him of spending taxpayer money. Man, this is not going well. He spent thousands of dollars at steakhouses. He spent $20,000 on a credit card bill in 1 month, and then he followed up the next month and spends $15,000. That's outrageous, Kevin. I repeatedly, criticized
Took
the way
issue with the way he was spending money.
taxpayer money. He's wasting taxpayer money at Ruth's Chris, spending $6,000 on one meal. How many $200, $300 bottle of wines did that include? You know what I'm saying? This is taxpayer money. You're right. I did criticize it.
And I think he
He's
said
a
that was
public figure.
that was to court. I think he said legislators
Right.
and other people.
Yeah,
and,
I have to buy $300-$400 bottles of wine and buy them a $100 steak to court their vote. That is bull crap. That's not the way it's done, Speros. That's why I was repeatedly criticizing the way he ran his organization.
All right, here we go.
All right, another one.
Falsely claimed that keeps going.
Man. All right.
The hits keep coming. Falsely claimed that Mr. Batistatos uses tax money as a weapon.
True. I did say that. He did use tax money as a weapon. He would leverage whether or not he liked you or whether or not you kissed his ring. And if you did not, like I didn't, he would shut out your community.
Festival of the Lakes didn't get any money for years.
For decades, Kevin.
Well, he did for a while, then he stopped.
You know why? He stopped because he walked up on stage one day and started talking into the microphone. Like, he's a member of the public. He walked on our stage, grabbed our microphone, and starts talking to the public. And we're like, what the hell are you doing? That would be like, I have tons of sponsors, like Doty, who was just in our studio. Doty's a sponsor to the fest also. That doesn't mean that Doty walks on stage and starts talking to the crowd on the microphone, right?
So in other words, you embarrassed him or offended him, and then he stopped.
Well,
Then
I
you
told the
think
gentleman that was in charge of the stage, if he ever does that again, I'm going to fire that guy, right? And that you took care of the problem, right? I said, you can't have members of the public walk on stage and start talking to the crowd. If that happens again, it's your ass. So Speros did it again the next day, and the guy took the microphone right out of his hand, right on stage, and it was, I imagine, embarrassing for Speros.
All
so
right.
guess what? He never funded the Festival of the Lakes again after that.
Someone in chat, Joey, says SSCVA was a pay-to-play organization under his leadership.
For sure.
Whoa.
For sure.
Here we go. Ready?
I'm the one that brought all this to light.
Falsely alleged waste, fraud, and abuse under Mr. Batistatos' leadership of the SSCVA.
I did not falsely allege that. I alleged it, and I was right. Absolutely. I'm agreeing on almost everything they're bringing up. But except for
you're
they
just
say
saying like
falsely
it's
alleged,
truth,
and I'm
right?
like, actually alleged. I did allege, and it was true.
All right. And this is John, here's your quotes from LOCPOD. And called
I
Mr.
can't wait for this.
And called Mr. Batistatos a quote petty piece of crap. End quote.
This is in the
Oh,
tort
that's
claim?
Yes.
nothing.
I probably did call him a petty
Probably
piece of
should have
crap.
watched a couple of.
I might have called him a.
Here's the next
I
one.
might
You
not
ready?
have said crap, actually.
And a quote jackass who doesn't know the law. End
Come
quote.
on.
Guilty. I did call him that.
something
Yeah.
like you would say.
And someone who is quote pompous. Then there's an ellipsis, so I don't know what you said in between. And deserves what is coming to him.
Whoa.
I think I said ass, pompous ass, and he deserves what's coming to him.
Okay.
Guilty. Is this good or bad?
How is this? Yeah. How is this debt prep going?
Is this going well?
That's for your lawyers to figure out. I
You're
don't
my
think-
goddamn lawyer. Like, what are you talking about?
And it says that Because of that, you interfered with his employment contract.
I didn't interfere with his employment contract. I criticized the way he did his job as a public figure, spending millions of dollars of taxpayer money. Guess what? I'm entitled to do that. It's called the First Amendment. And I am, just like any other citizen that wants to criticize their mayor, their commissioners, their council people, I have the right to criticize the way the Convention and Visitors Bureau spends millions of dollars of taxpayer money, which is what I did.
He also said you violated his civil rights under 42 U.S.C. 1983.
How did I violate his...
What is that?
That means that, I denied him, if I,
constitutional
as
right.
an employer, if I said none of you have the right to speak publicly, if I told that to my employees, that would be violating their civil rights.
You have to
because you have a
under
First Amendment right.
Okay.
By somebody under the color of state law.
Right. So if as mayor, if I said, Jill, you cannot speak. I don't want you to say you support, President Biden. I don't want you to say if I said stuff like that, or I said, hey, anybody working for me cannot own a gun. Right,
or an illegal search by a police officer, or
right.
when you hear
if I condoned it,
right, or
if I condoned it,
or even by that police officer. That's how police officers sometimes get
would
sued.
Get it,
right? Sure.
I was talking about how I could get it as mayor.
So how
Absolutely.
did you infringe that?
I did not.
Kevin,
that's the only thing I deny out of everything on that form.
We did pretty good. 1 for 11.
See, I did not do that. I did not do number 11.
And the conspiracy, along with all these people.
Kevin, you got to clear something up in chat here.
Okay.
Someone asked, did you just say you don't want to represent mayor in this? You wouldn't be able to, right?
He can't. He's included.
Yeah, well, according to mayor, I'm going to get sued too. So if that's the case, I probably wouldn't. But a lot of times what happens, John, is as head of the law department, we have a significant number of lawyers that help defend the city, and so what I will do is I will kind of lead the team, but we'll get a lot of team members,
and potentially a lot of people are getting lawyered up here from this, right?
We'll wait and see. I mean, this is just the notice. We'll see what they end up doing.
But honestly, so let's say the city council members are attached to the lawsuit, which I doubt, because they really, outside of letting us hire, the original lawsuit was the Hammond City Council was the plaintiff in that case, because they were the ones that Speros wronged when he illegally.
Right.
He was the one that it was the city council appointment that Speros illegally put on the board himself against the law, which is why we filed the original lawsuit by the Hammond Council against him and cleared that up.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of potential defendants here that had to do with the grant application. Are they going to allege that the folks of the park department were involved in the conspiracy when they did? I think, John, you were involved in that grant application.
But the fact
got
is,
quiet.
So even if let's say that John did get put on, or let's say Donna Muta, because she probably received the grant from the Convention and Visitors Authority on behalf of the city. Mm-hmm. If she got it, we'd get her out in 5 minutes. She had nothing to do with none of these allegations. I mean, by the way, these are all allegations. And as far as a conspiracy or me getting involved in the board, I was in litigation with the board during this period of time. I was in litigation with them. We weren't talking. And quite frankly, when Speros was fired, I was more shocked than anybody. I never thought that would happen.
Do you want to know what he's asking for?
Yeah,
I was going to say, what is the end game?
So the end game is that says that. See section C above, and then it goes on to say, Mr. Batistatos.
He's asking for a C-section?
Mr. Batistatos' losses are in excess of $2.5 million, which represents his annual compensation over 5 years.
Whoa.
Plus annual
5 years?
plus other benefits and damages.
Hit that
Hold
breaking
it.
news.
He's making $500,000 a year.
Plus other benefits and damages.
By the way, interesting fact here, Speros and Speros lawyers. He was in the last few months of his contract. What makes us think that the board would have renewed his contract?
Well, that's maybe what they're saying. The theory is that if you wouldn't have, had this conspiracy and interfered, he would have been renewed for
honestly,
perpetuity,
Kevin,
or potentially for many years.
I think I have a lawsuit because they're trying to silence me as a citizen of Lake County. I have the right to criticize how government money spent.
Well, they're not silencing you. You're talking about it.
But what I'm saying is they're trying to intimidate me with a defamation lawsuit.
You don't seem intimidated.
But they're trying to intimidate me so that I can't say things about how people are spending $50 million of taxpayer money.
Well, the good thing is you've got this podcast.
But they're trying to intimidate me.
Are you intimidated?
It's think about it, man. If I started filing defamation lawsuits against Hammond citizens that were criticizing the way I ran government, that's like a silencing mechanism.
So, Mayor, you
bring
up a very good point, and this is why there's a case out there called New York Times versus Sullivan, and there's a case out there called Curtis Publishing versus Butts that says if you are going to criticize a public official, you have to show actual malice. In other words, you're not a normal everyday citizen. You are somebody that is responsible to the public, and people are supposed to be able to criticize you.
It's called the First Amendment.
Absolutely, and that's why. So, and I don't want to get too far in the weeds on this, but it's such an interesting story about how this came to play. It goes back to civil rights, and the mayor is a great student of the civil rights and Lyndon Johnson and all that. And the fact is how this came about was the sheriff in Montgomery, Alabama, sued the New York Times over an ad they ran about Martin Luther King and said, you lied. I didn't ring the university with sheriff's officers. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. And he sued the New York Times, and there was a $500,000 judgment in 1960, whatever, against the New York Times in Alabama. The Supreme Court voted 9-0 and said, no, you can't do that. You're a public official. You have to show actual malice, and they reversed it. And that changed First Amendment law for a long time, because that's what the South was doing. They had all these lawsuits pending against officials and newspapers in the North because they were trying to silence them over the civil rights movement.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the best way to silence people is to threaten litigation.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you don't want to be wrapped up. So if I did the same thing in Hammond that Speros is trying to do to me right now, is anybody that criticizes me, in order to shut them up, I would send them a tort claim. And I would say, I'm going to sue you. I'm threatening litigation against you. I wouldn't send them a tort claim. Right. I would just threaten to sue them and say, hey,
Kevin, send them a letter. You
want to keep talking?
Me.
I'm going to pull you in court. You're going to have to get lawyers. You're going to be hearing about $1 million lawsuits against you, and you're not going to want to do that. So the best thing to do in that case is just to shut up and not criticize public figures, right? That's exactly why we have the First Amendment. That's exactly why.
And interesting, in the last administration, President Trump was kind of pushing the courts to try to re-examine New York Times versus Sullivan, saying that there has to be some help for public officials who get criticized so much.
I do get criticized a lot, and it's unfair, by the way, and it pisses me off, and it's over the top, but I can't do anything about it because I'm a mayor, and I don't have to be mayor. I chose to be mayor. I ran. I'm spending millions of dollars of taxpayer money, which means people could make shit up about me, and they could lie,
and do.
There's not much there's not much you could do about it. And if you don't like it, you don't have to be mayor. If Speros doesn't like getting criticized for spending taxpayer money, nobody forced him to be the head of the South Shore Convention and Visitors Bureau. He chose. He got paid taxpayer money, and he receives criticism as a result of that job because you're a public figure.
And I think the interesting thing is, I remember when you first became mayor, and then maybe 2 years later, I remember something specifically you said to me. You said, "You know what, Kevin? I've gotten thicker skin already. I've had to." Because you come in, right? You're right. I mean,
I wouldn't be here.
Kevin, your partner is in the chat. Steven Sursick.
Did I say something wrong?
Thank you,
Here's
Steve.
his
the real
take.
lawyer in the firm.
Here's his take.
Thank you, Steve.
My first impression: lawsuit is dead in the water under Sullivan. Frivolous.
Wow.
Whoa, and that's the smart one of the group.
I agree totally. We all know that.
That's the University of Chicago.
Hey, by the way, I called the smart one in my household about this lawsuit also, and she said this sounds like a Rule 11 case to me.
Well,
what's a Rule 11 case, Kevin?
So Rule 11 means that as an attorney or anybody that files something in court, you have to basically affirm that what you're doing is in good faith, and if you don't, you're subject to sanctions.
Right, and she's like, you should ask for sanctions. It's clearly a frivolous lawsuit. It's intended to intimidate you, intended to intimidate people, and they're not talking about
and to intimidate into quiet.
Right,
First
intimidate you into silence. And I have the right to speak and talk about how Speros spent $50 million under his tenure, and I will. And I will. And I know that this is not going to be a successful lawsuit, and I hope the council knows that as well. I haven't talked to them since we received this, but if they're included in this, they're going to be represented, obviously, by city lawyers, and they'll be out of the case quick because there's nothing there for the council
and
to
South
worry
Shore
about.
Convention and Visitors Bureau, I'm sure, will have lawyers, too.
For sure. There's going to be, and Speros wants to get $2.5 million for 5 years worth of compensation, which is interesting.
As two attorneys, how you've got a guy who's potentially suing a dozen or so people, multiple organizations. How much is he going to spend on this thing? How does that work?
So most of the time, and this is what, like Steve and I do a lot of, we do contingent fee work, which means that you make an agreement with your client that you're not going to charge them unless you recover. So it could be
which is crazy. That means this firm.
It may be.
They think there's something there. Huh?
Well, they might, or they're going to take a chance or whatever, because in 1983 claims,
right,
if you recover $1 for your client,
right,
you get your attorney
the
fees.
lawyers get paid.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So,
but why would they file a tort claim if they're going to go 1983?
Well, I think usually you do both, right?
And what?
You
1983,
preserve
honestly,
your state claims.
I should file a 1983 against him in his capacity as South Shore Convention and Visitors Authority because I have the right to criticize my elected officials, and he's trying to intimidate me.
Sounds like we might have a counterclaim.
I think I do have a counterclaim, honestly, because I have the right to criticize, and I did say those a lot of those things. I did say. And you know what? I have the right to say that because he spends $50 million of taxpayer money, and I have the right to criticize.
So you may recall a gentleman by the name of Matt Markham who was sued by Councilman Anthony Higgs over his First Amendment rights. There's a statute out there. It exists in most states, and I don't know if it exists federally or not, but it's called a SLAPP law, and it's basically a defense and a counter your ability to claim against somebody who's trying to squelch your First Amendment rights. So
which is what Speros is trying to do in this case.
So.
Chris Sekularis
and Matt Markham won that, by the way.
Chris Ecolaris would like to know if you guys can get CLEs for today's podcast.
Well,
No kidding,
you know
right?
what?
It was a
We
good
need to
podcast.
submit for that.
I agree.
All right.
It
Well,
was impromptu also.
how did that happen? It's already 8:40.
Thanks, everybody, for listening to LOCPOD. Woof. This is why we're ranked 127th in Ghana. A perfect example of that. Thanks for listening to Belgium's top-rated podcast. Thank you to Jill for coming in to cover the notorious LMP, who worked till 3 a.m. last night and could not pull it off. Thanks to Jay Vez for another flawless performance. Even though the other day I came in to cut video.
Oh, dude, I thought we were not going to get into
Oh, we got to talk
Even
about
though-
this.
this. No. We got to go, guys. We gotta
I don't
wrap
know what
this up.
happened.
I
can't
come
wait to
in
hear
to
this.
the
Oh, this
studio
is
to
great.
cut campaign video, okay?
Stupid.
and I did like half hour worth of campaign cuts, right?
By
And
half hour,
finally-
it means 10 minutes.
And then I left, and then I get home, and John's like, "Hey,
guys,
I
I'm
got
sorry."
bad news. I forgot to press play during all
Not
that.
true.
Like, and it doesn't come
Nope.
out." And
Categorically false.
But it came out like weird, right, John? Like,
there was just audio.
yeah.
yeah,
Which
John's
was
gonna
great,
sue
by
me
the
for
way, Tom.
defamation now.
Will you be? Will you be?
Even though
fined
John
for
had been messing with the cameras, he's like, all right, this is a good shot. I got it. I didn't get the logo in. It's good.
It was phenomenal, and then it was just audio.
And then I come back and I cut the commercials way better anyway.
Very
Yeah, it was nice.
Good.
I did better on the second cut.
Good work.
But, hey, thanks for actually pressing play today, John. We appreciate it.
We don't know if we did or not.
That was breaking news about Speros' lawsuit against Mayor Tom, intimidating him from his First Amendment rights of free speech. Thank you for listening to LOCPOD. Thank you to the Caboose and to all of our fans. Talk to you next week.